Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Thank you for stopping by once again. I tried getting this video up, or a different video, but a video up last night and couldn't get one up on YouTube to save my soul. I woke up this morning, still wasn't able to get them up. This evening, I decided, well, I'm going to do another one and try to put that up and see if there's some problem with my editing software or whatever. And I go into YouTube, and the first two attempts I've made are sitting there. They've actually made it. It took almost 24 hours for them to get up to YouTube and for YouTube to get them ready for publication. They hadn't been published yet. They were still on private status. I deleted them both because I had no information. I thought, here, I might as well just do the whole thing over again, and that is what I'm doing right now, with additional detail I didn't have yesterday. But I only hope I can get the thing up on YouTube today. We'll see. We'll hope for the best. And I'll mention, too, that this is the Friday, the 20th of March in the year 2020, and the reason I'm saying that is that this video will probably be seen by people 6 months from now. And so some of the things I'm talking about, hopefully all of them, will not be relevant when you're looking at this in months to come. But they are certainly relevant today, and I feel I should at least bring them to the attention of people. We spent a long time getting ready for this. There was a lot of talk about the planning. South Korea was used as an example of what we wanted to do, which would be very dramatic, be very rapid, to move on it aggressively, to try to bring it to a stop in its tracks if at all possible. Made a big emphasis on this, and it's exactly what's happened. Well, I'll give you a list here of what is forbidden. We've only had cases, for the last, 10 days, 2 weeks maybe. We have 137 of them right now. One has passed away. Most of the others are at home, under home quarantine. Some are in hospital and some in intensive care. So we definitely have coronavirus here. We did not when I was earlier reporting on it. We were waiting at that stage. Well, no more waiting is necessary. So here are some of the things that have happened. For some time now, last week or so, only Panama citizens and residents could fly into Panama and stay. And they had to go into home quarantine for 14 days after arrival. But that's all coming to an end. This is the 20th Friday. On the 22nd of March, this coming Sunday evening at 11:59 p.m., the airport will close to all passenger air traffic. Freight traffic will continue. We're a big hub for that. And it's stopping here and on its way to somewhere else, or it may be left here, but it's goods, not people. Humanitarian flights, of course, will continue to be allowed in if there are any. Otherwise, passenger flights, none, in or out. That was just announced, and it's been a busy day for a lot of people getting their flights sorted out, but that's how seriously we're taking it. So basically, we got the country is not quite under quarantine, but it's very, very close to that. The same thing is going on with cruise ships, by the way. So we really are sealing off pretty much. 99% anyhow, from the rest of the world for a while. Now, what is forbidden here in the country? I have a list here I'm going to be referring to, so pardon me while I glance over. Fairs, conventions, cultural events, religious gatherings, concerts, sporting events have been banned throughout the entire country. Access to beaches, rivers, and public swimming pools has been banned. Bars, discotheques, nightclubs, casinos, regular theaters, movie theaters are all prohibited from operating. Indoor and outdoor playgrounds, gyms, sports fields, and courts have been shut down. Restaurants may continue to operate, but can only offer takeout and delivery options. There is no in-restaurant dining allowed. And all public and private gatherings of over 50 people are prohibited, with strict fines imposed on those who violate this sanction. And to make this point clear to people, right at the beginning, when that particular one of the first rules to be applied was this no more than 50 people, a case was made, and it was in every newspaper the next morning. It was a wedding in Casco Viejo, which is the old quarter of Panama City. It's an expensive area, and so a wedding there is an expensive wedding, and it's a way of saying rich people were having a wedding in Casco Viejo. which is fine. And they had 74 guests, and the Ministry of Health showed up and apologized for interrupting, but pointed out the fact that they had in excess of 50, 24 people would have to leave, and they did. The wedding went on, was completed successfully. There was a photograph of everybody, and they were being quite civil, but very clear. And the message was there to everybody. We're serious about this. We don't care who you are, how important you think you are. There's not going to be gatherings of more than 50 people. And that's that. That group was not fined, of course. They were, so to speak, the example. But the message has gotten through. I'm very pleased to say that the Panamanian citizenry here has responded extremely well to this. We have, even when you go to a supermarket, you get in a long line at the entrance, and they let people in groups because they're trying to avoid having too big a crowd in the market. Hoarding is not allowed, but I haven't even seen anybody try to, but I'm sure somebody has somewhere, but it's forbidden. And I went in, I've been in a couple times. People are perfectly pleasant, they're patient, they queue up, they stand in line quite, not, they'd prefer to be somewhere else. We don't keep 6 feet or whatever between us. That's a step too far. I think most of them are probably about 3 feet apart. But everyone's very, very reasonable. And if you're elderly or something, clearly as an older person, they are given more space, for sure. In some areas, the hours are specially set aside for the elderly. But anyhow, all of this is happening. It all works. The stores are well supplied. And the staff, bless their hearts, have been out there working hard to help get this done properly. Everybody has cooperated. It is not an easy task. This is not going to be perfect. There will be confusion, there'll be concern, there'll be upset people eventually. Basically because you cannot just simply close a country down and not have some sort of negative things occur. So there I go coughing, and people are probably going to think, I have the coronavirus. No, I don't. I have a lot more than that. So, in any event, has this been worthwhile? And I don't know. I mean, we certainly seem to be very much on top of it. We have some commentary, some praise from the Pan American Health Organization. That's supported by other governments in the Western Hemisphere, North and South. It's non-political, one of the very few intergovernmental agencies that can say that. They're highly professional people. I've worked with them myself in the past, in nutrition area and in public health. They have made it very clear. It was a very nice statement today made by their representative visiting here. As he put it, how did he put it? Panama is always one step ahead. And they really... They said we were doing the best job in Latin America, at least, well, actually in the Americas, in dealing with this because we are moving on it very sharply, very quickly, and because of the style we're doing it in. Give me a couple examples of what this means. I mean, everyone accuses me of being too positive about Panama. Well, listen to me. They do things right sometimes, you know. Some people here like to think they never do anything right. Bull, nonsense. I get sick and tired of that sort of whining. Because people need to relax and take a good look at things. What was impressing PAHO, the Pan American Health Organization, with things like we have set up in that planning process 20 teams. These are doctors and nurses, health personnel, high-level health personnel. They're small teams. They have the protective gear. We've had the testing kits, plenty of them from the very beginning, everything organized so that when people contact the ministry or doctors contact them, whoever, they hear word of somebody who appears to have the coronavirus and needs to be tested, the team goes out and tests them there. They go to their homes. They'll go wherever they are and test them right there and wait there until they get the results. Because now, in those circumstances, if they've got it, then they can put them under quarantine right where they are, or if they need to get to their homes because they're not there, they can be moved there in the most sanitary conditions possible. They will know who they have seen and been with, if they're in a household, the rest of the family. So arrangements can be made for that. But everything's done, and they don't have to go out in the streets and try to find a taxi or find some way to get to a health center or to a hospital to have the test taken. If they do that, of course, they're taken care of when they arrive. But if the message gets to people, these teams go right out and take care of it. That I really like that. I think it's a very bright idea to take it to them. And this has been a stress. I'm not going to be surprised to hear that we picked this up from the South Koreans. I just don't know that for a fact. But bringing the help to where it's needed as opposed to bringing the need to where the help is. The same thing is happening here with a hospital. Now, you may have heard that the Chinese, for example, in Wuhan, in the area of particularly hard hit, that in a matter of a couple weeks or so, they threw up a very basic hospital with lots of beds in it. It wasn't quite as smooth as they'd hoped it would be and so on, but it was pretty amazing how quickly they got something up, because they simply run out of bed space, and they just couldn't handle it. Now, we're not doing that. We don't need that at this stage of the game. But the first thing that's already been done is somebody had already been picked out. And we have companies here who do construction work for the government from time to time. They went to 3 of them. They talked to them, chose one. They've given them a contract. They have 30 days. They're putting together a modular hospital. This is a straightforward, simple hospital, but it's going to have what they need for coronavirus in particular. And that's modular. So I don't know if that means they're going to have them in containers, for example. If there's any country in the world with experience with the containers, it's Panama, since we have literally hundreds of thousands of them pass through every year. And we move them around a lot. But I don't know whether they're going to do that or exactly how. But the idea of the modules is that the hospital can be broken up and moved. And the idea, again, is to bring the hospital to where the outbreak is worse. So that if there is an area with a hot spot, bring it in, get it taken care of, and then once those folks are cared for, they're at home in quarantine or whatever, and there's a problem somewhere else, you pick it up and you move it. And this is very bright. So this sort of activity is very encouraging. And we're a democracy, and people are going to be very critical of things that don't work out the way they're supposed to and so forth. But two things impressed me, and one is how hard the government is working to do this. They're very open and very clear and very transparent about the whole affair, and the response of the people, which is okay. We got to take care of this. We will. It doesn't answer all our problems, of course, but it's one huge step forward toward getting in control of the situation. And I fear very much that many other countries in the region are going to have a lot of trouble doing that, because they're not doing what we're doing at the beginning. And God knows what will happen in Venezuela, those poor people. I just don't know. There's still, what, 20, 28, 30 million of them there. I mean, wow. So it's a tough time for a lot of people all over the world. And your country, I'm sure, has its own problems it's facing. So you understand this in a way. We all share in this. I just bring you the note that we're struggling with this too. We don't know how successful we're going to be, but I'm pleased with what I see and what I hear, and that's that. And people have written and said, what about the real estate market? Well, forget it. You're not coming down to buy anything anyhow. The flights are canceled, okay? My attitude in all this is that this is the least of my concerns at the moment. And first, number one thing is that all of us everywhere get through this particular period. Then when the time comes, we'll talk more about how it might impact on real estate. I have had some interest from people who seem to, their language suggests that maybe they think there'll be a huge and dramatic drop. I don't expect that. This is not, do not compare our market with yours. That's rule number one in any case. Also keep in mind that the market's been on a decline here, softening up if you like, for 2 or 3 years. So it's already down quite a bit, and mortgages have been worked out, arrangements have been made with banks and so forth and what have you. And this particular coronavirus also going to be working hard with everybody, including the banks, to try to lessen the burden and the blow to the Panamanian people. So it's not necessarily going to make any huge difference in pricing, and maybe not at all. In fact, if we come out of it well and look good in comparison to others, it could be something else. It's not going to happen overnight, though. So basically, I'm just putting that. I'll talk about that when it's appropriate and time to come. My attitude now, I have had certain responsibilities that I've had to take care of, and I have done so from within my apartment. I have a few more that I've got to take care of. But since I'm here, I'm going to be doing a couple videos instead of one regarding Panama City. It's going to be a little bit more relaxed because I have a little more time. It won't happen today, but it is coming down the road. And in that process, we can discuss the real estate market. It continues to go on. Sales are still being made even now, but that's grinding to a halt, as you might imagine. And it gives us time to consider the total picture. But for now, the important thing for all people is that we get through it together, that we all come out of it as healthy as we possibly can be, that we take care of each other, and that we understand it's important to make that number one on our list, and nothing else is the equal to it or certainly superior to it. So stay safe, help others do the same thing. I look forward to talking to you again. Thanks for stopping by.